Well, hello everyone, and welcome back. This is the after show for episode number 83, talking about holy and disciplined priests and the warlords of Draenor. And I want to get right into this because we have more salt to throw around. There they are. There are our guests. Hello, and there's a bird.
It's a bird.
That's a bird.
It's a plane.
Jak
the Caston.
Jak and Jinze. Nicely done, Jack. Good stuff on that one. Nice. I guess the first question I'll bring up is from chat beforehand. Daniel wanted to. Where is it? It's up here on my Skype. Would you prefer if all absorbs only blocked percentages of damages incoming, so that they would last for multiple hits, but not block everything they do on the next incoming ability only?
I think that would kind of buff them on certain fights. Like, this really depends on the fight, but if you do that, you're basically giving people a targetable stagger, which can work out really badly for the other healers if there's low incoming damage, because then you actually have the opportunity to shield more people for a longer amount of time, not giving them anything to do. So I'm not sure if that really works. I think on some encounters it can really work when there's tons of damage going on all the time. But you don't want to give people stagger all the time.
We already know how powerful Brewmaster monks are, so
yeah.
What do you think, Jack?
I think it'd be kind of weird. It kind of reminds me when they're talking about staggering, the ability for Paladin's Sacred Shield. It puts like a 30-second buff on the target, and then it slowly gives them a shield. So over 30 seconds, they get this big absorb, but it's very, very, very staggered. So I'd be kind of curious as like how they would go about doing it. I would be more interested in them just changing the encounters as a whole, because eventually there's going to be some kind of scaling or something's going to go screwy, and even if it's staggered, absorb's just going to be too strong. Like, they're just going to outpace it. I'd just be more interested in them following up what their plan was going into Warlords, which was sustained, like heavy sustained damage, and your heals not topping people off quickly. Like, people are always low, and you're always stuff to heal. So.
Fair enough. I think my chat actually just exploded, so I'm going to reload my chat there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think they should just remove disc entirely. No, on a serious level, like I really feel like it's going to be harder to try and balance absorbs than it would be to just remove like a very large portion of absorbs from the game itself. It might be a little too far, and they probably wouldn't do something like that, but hey, if they're willing to remove flying, then anything's possible at this point, I suppose.
You don't know what they're capable of.
I think they need to do something like that. Not entirely what you mean, though. I mean, I get it. I think they should just remove Powered Shield as your go-to spell. I think they just need to give us options to heal people and make it more powerful in certain situations than the shielding.
Even in Dragon Soul, though, all you were doing was, POHing for Divine Aegis anyways, so you were still getting tons and tons of absorbs, and it was just coming from a different place. I feel like they should tone back the total volume of absorbs that are your healing.
Exactly.
And it should probably be more like 20 or 30% of the most is actually absorbs, and then the rest of it comes from regular healing sources.
Well, that's sort of what I was curious about, because I still think Clarity of Will is the proper way to do it, right? Like, it's a targeted single target. It may be a little too powerful in the current way because you can stack it so high. I kind of feel like if Powered Shield had a small cooldown, and it was sort of like the ability you left a person with, like if you channel a full penance in the tank, and then on the exit GCD, you hit a Powered Shield. And then you go to someone else, and you're like, maybe you do a couple smites to get your evangelism stack, maybe put your Holy Fire, your Solus out there, and then you go back to like penance, and then like you end with a shield, right? So you heal someone, and then you give them a little bit of buffer to help and let other healers catch up if they're still low. But right now it's just like Powered Shield, Powered Shield, Powered Shield, Powered Shield, Powered Shield, Powered Shield, Inner Will, Powered Shield, Powered Shield. Like, that's all you can do, and you'll still do good.
Yeah, but the problem with just removing it, I mean, you can't just say put a cooldown on it, because like I said before, you have nothing else. We just have nothing else, and that's the problem.
That's
Power Word
true.
Shield
Yeah.
is too big. We need
Yeah.
to honestly tone down. I don't know why they gave us Divine Aegis on the crit still. I think that's probably a miss. They shouldn't do that. They should change it to be something else. I don't know what. Maybe just make it a normal crit, and just indeed keep the Clarity of Will the way it is. I think that's a good tool. I think they might need to lower the cap a little bit still, and the Power Word Shield just needs to be it needs to be nerfed. I don't know. I don't even hear myself
Yeah.
saying this, but it needs to be nerfed, and we need to have something else to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
Toolkit just needs a flat rework so that you guys have
Exactly,
something
yeah.
else to do, and then you make absorbs not as spammable. There's
Yeah.
still a lot
Yeah.
of utility and a lot of benefit and a lot of gameplay behind absorbs if they were to do it right, to where it could still save lives, but not to the
Sure.
point where it's like 20 people in your raids all have absorbs.
yeah.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think what Jack brought up originally with like Sacred Shield, that to me feels like a good absorb mechanic. Because it never
They-
does like a ton. It's like a buffer. It'll refresh itself slowly over the course of
Trickle
30 seconds.
absorbs.
Yeah, trickle absorb. And then
I think there has to be something to be punishing to people not playing well, and more benefit to people playing well. You know what I mean? So when Spirit Shell was never your top heal, because there's always Divine Aegis in MOP kind of thing, but you could tell when people could Spirit Shell well and when they couldn't Spirit Shell well. You know what I mean? Like one of the fights, like I love bringing this up, is Malkrok, because it was a big circular room, and how are you going to be able to hit all your targets with Prayer of Healing? You put melee in one in each group, and as long as the range are in 30 yards of the melee, even if they're at like one north, one south, one east, one west, you hit the middle target and it spreads out to everybody with Spirit Shell. But a lot of people didn't do that well, and they failed on that fight. There's not really a punishment when you're spamming Powered Shield on everybody.
No.
And
there's no, that's all
Yeah.
you. I bet obviously there's a way that you can say that that's probably like a 70 percentile discipline priest. They just spam Powered Shield, and your other healers like carry the rest of the weight. There are some more things you can do, but that's about. If you still do that, you're still doing so much for your raid group.
You're doing too much.
Yeah.
yeah,
Which
and that's your raid spot to just spam shields innately, and you're top
Yeah.
healing out of just spamming shields, like with no regard to like PI or Archangel timing or anything like that, or when the stuff's going wrong. Because it's
Right
like
now,
night and
we're
day
just
between,
using on cooldown.
Yeah. Well, it's night
There's no
and day
choice.
between like a Disc Priest who will pre-shield on Gruul and one that will shield after the slashes, you know what I mean? But they still do insane healing either way.
They still get the absorb from the slash debuff anyway, so it doesn't even matter in the end.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it's preventing the Holy Priest from proccing Twisted Fate
Nick's
or the
Sandra
Shaman from Mastery stuff.
chat brings up an interesting thought. What if like Powered Shield had charges, and it built up over time, so you can
I
like
think
throw
that
out
could work.
like 3 to 5 shields immediately, like boom, 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 boom on GCDs, and then you have to wait for it to build charges back up again.
I think that
Kinda
might
neat.
it might work, but again, eventually you're gonna run out of charges without anything to do. Still, like
There needs to be
I
a
mean-
supplement. Like they need to put other healing elsewhere.
The only class
Yeah.
that really benefits from, or you brought the Atonement style into the group. Like I don't know why they just killed it so much, where it doesn't really work in a Mythic raid style. Does Atonement work in like heroic raids? Like, can you like Solace, Penance, and Smite spam in like heroic raids and actually be okay? Does that work?
I've tried doing this in LFR, and there it kind of works, and then you drop into normal, and it already doesn't work anymore. It's completely gutted, really is. If you want a healer that does damage and also heals, then just take a monk with you. I mean, you don't take a discipline priest for that.
Yeah. No.
Yes, I
DPS
know
healing
that's
works
really
anymore.
bad.
Well, that's what one thing that's like playing devil's advocate on that too, as Suplift brings up. Like even like Red Crane Monk DPS to healing, because it was way too good.
Yeah.
They nerfed it, and that way they'll never like make Penance good. I don't know. Maybe my thought, we're gonna have this problem in Tier 18. We'll do catch-up videos. Discipline will still be way too good. Restorateur will be still way too bad. Didn't even phase him. Damn, he's like not even.
I've just heard it so much at this point that I just don't even care anymore.
Right. I wonder if we could make it so that the DPS to healing could be an actual real viability in 7.0. I just think they need to.
Yeah.
Something.
something.
I don't think
Well,
they're
we
gonna bring
we
it back
recognize the
in
problem,
any
but
incarnation.
There's so many different solutions.
And the
Yeah.
problem is that if you make a DPS check fight and you have this one healer that can sort of heal well and also add a bunch of damage, you're always going to take them because they're just better for progression. So that just scratches a whole bunch of people off your who am I going to take for the healing, who am I going to bench again off your list. I mean, come on.
But if they're making Mythic 20-man this realm that obviously they maybe if they embrace more of this less bring the player, bring the class thing and make it so you can actually weave different classes and specs in different fights, because they're already doing it right now without even like trying to do it. They do it, and it's the bring the player, bring the class mentality is definitely dead in Mythic rating because of 20-man. Like there's because of how they balance stuff. There's some classes and specs that just don't work. They're always like the weaker ones, and you're not going to bring them. So it's a weird realm because I feel like a lot of their balance works in normal and heroic rating, but then for Mythic rating, it just like
Yeah, it gets interesting.
yeah.
I think a lot of it just in counter design. You see examples of good fights where the healing gets more and more equal. It gets more and more like balanced than anything else, and they've been pretty good about making some fights like great for some classes, great for other classes. You know, so it just I want to see more of that, I guess is the best way to say it.
Right.
Because this is the first tier of the expansion, right? If they're going to go 3 tiers, like look at where we are now in terms of like the power of absorbs and stuff like that, and look at where it's going to be in the end of next tier and the end of next tier, you know? Maybe they'll use Holy Nova because you have, 70% crit and then you're just spamming it for DA. I don't know.
The other suggestion I've heard is that if they're going to keep Powered Shield as this like super utility, no cooldown except for the inner the weakened soul debuff on the target, then should Powered Shield itself, just Powered Shield, react based off of the player's max HP that you're shielding?
No.
No.
No?
No, it doesn't. Your powered shield is static.
No. Should it? Should it?
Oh, no. No, also no. If you do that, then you're gonna run into tank problems again.
Maybe.
Like they did this with the Clarity of Will. Clarity of Will used to scale off the person that you're healing with it.
Yeah.
So the tank had shields that are basically there were gods with shields.
Yeah.
And if you do that with the powered shield, if you crit and multi-strike, you're basically giving someone a cooldown. You're giving them a massive cooldown.
Yep.
You're giving them that
especially with that
chi
stam
bubble.
trinket.
Yeah, it's not.
Or if you're a Guardian Druid.
Yeah.
Guardian Druid's like what 1.2-ish million HP already in the tier 18 testing I've heard. Like
They're gonna get good.
welcome back to Siege of Vulgar, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's viable.
The only way that would really be viable is if they properly did the whole, like, you might gain health, but the boss does, like, an equivalent amount of damage to you. So it's really like, if the boss in the previous tier had an ability that did 80% of your health, then the boss in the following tier would also do 80% of your health. That's really the only way it would work. And then, the healing would have to obviously scale accordingly that way too. But I don't think they have that where they want it for it to actually be viable. I could see that fixing issues, but the whole system has to actually be in place for it to be worthwhile, I think.
Right.
Yeah, but then you start with the whole building encounters around these shields being around, though. I mean,
They
I don't
need
think
to is the problem. It's a
Yeah,
mandatory
that's
class.
the problem, though.
Yeah.
That's what they need to
Yeah.
change. They need to change it so that they don't have to
Encounter
take this into
design.
account anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you have like when people are already moving towards like, okay, this is what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna cow these mechanics and we're gonna, bust through them no problem. Like, don't blame the players for doing it. Like, this is in the game, this is something that you can do, and we're gonna do whatever we can to
Yeah, I mean,
do it,
Suplift brings
Get
back
through.
up what we talked about during the main show. I think the healer tier list wouldn't matter as much if they actually 5 healed every fight. But that
Agreed.
would to make that work, would they have to make more damage, right?
We're just fine. Like,
But I don't know if
So they should be doing
more
anyway.
damage is the better choice, because then I'll feel like we're in Dragon Soul again when you're alive or dead.
Well,
I think
the type
Daniel
of
actually
damage.
made a good point here that they might be okay with designing boss mechanics that ignore absorbs. I think that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Possibility.
Yeah.
It'd be bad for some cooldowns and some tanks, though. Like, that would make Blood DK and Guardian Druid really sketchy, so that's a tough one.
That's true.
Welcome back, Affinity. You're just gonna be missing a shirt.
Yeah.
What am I talking about?
Yeah. It's awkward.
We all saw it. That's not.
I don't know if it was on camera or not. I didn't know. Sai, want to know... We'll switch gears real quickly here. Speaking of tanks, what tanks... well, you could say Brewmaster Monk. He said, what tanks not named monks? So what tanks are the least stressful to heal or the most stressful to heal?
You're asking the wrong crowd, I think.
I think most stressful to heal for me is actually still Brewmaster. What am I saying? Druid right now.
Guardian
Although
Druid.
although that might be because my Guardian Druid is a little more undergeared than my Monk tanks, but they seem to have a lot of spikes all of a sudden. I guess because they're still built around dodge more.
They're either not taking any damage or they're getting destroyed.
Yeah. I think that's probably the worst tank for me to heal.
I guess what it means is you're not like in a raid situation. You're not ever like solo tank healing. But if you notice the healing patterns coming in, and you get to maybe switch your focus sometimes to heal tanks. That's what I kind of mean. Like, what tank diverts more of your attention? I guess that's
that kind of depends on what they're doing though, and per fight again. Like that, you can't really pin that down because sometimes you'll have a monk even drop really low if they're taking a whole bunch of things solo. So it really depends. Also, if you have enough holy paladins on your team, you can't really tell.
I feel like warrior for me. Warrior or guardian druid. It's kind of scary with guardian druids because it's like they either take no damage or they're getting destroyed. But with warriors, it feels like they're just constantly just getting beat up.
Yep. I think that's like the situation I think we talked about with Pro Warrior. A lot of that gets like band-aided with the Archimon trinket for them. So we'll have to see how that works out. That's again my thing that some of these situations that are coming in right now, like that's why I think a lot of things will be band-aided fixed in tier 18, but then new terrible things will rear their ugly head, like the double disc meta.
Not gonna happen. I'm hoping.
What we didn't talk about in the main show, which I think needs to be talked about now, is the Leech trinket.
Yeah. That's right.
Coming out in tier 18.
I'm excited.
I can't. I'm gonna give that to all my other healers.
Well, yeah, it's not gonna be good for you, but that's the thing is it might make you not very good.
I hate you all.
Well,
no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Counter design. Disc's still gonna be good.
Counter design.
Yeah.
I don't, because I just wonder, like, if you didn't bring a disc priest on purpose, and you've got your Holy Paladin for your tanks, then you've got Shaman, Resto, Druid, Mystery Monk, right? So you get your 4 healers, which take to Mythic now, your tank healer, your main priority tank healer, and then your 3 huge blanketing throughput healers. They all have the Leech trinket. Now, based on the encounters of Mythic, if you have enough healing going out to them, your DPS will have between 9 and maybe even 15% Leech. So...
And we have 100% uptime on that, basically.
Yeah, it won't go away, so...
The more healers that have it, the better it gets.
So...
It's great. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's going to rear its head. I don't think the progression guilds will see it. Mostly because I think the progression race this tier is going to be awkward because they won't have the legendary ring either.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, I think depending on how long the time sync is to get the first step, which is the click, will instantly nerf all the mythic races. Which scares me for this tier if it's going to like last a lot shorter because they're not balancing the encounters around the legendary ring.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they haven't.
Legendary ring breaks like 4 encounters wide open easily. At least 3. Like it just crushes it.
I don't know why they didn't design it around it because they should know that, I mean, even looking for 8 players can get the ring as well. You should assume that everyone that progresses through Mythic will have that legendary ring. I know they don't want to make the same mistake that they did with the cloak, and I totally get that it's mandatory and it's awful if you swap alts, but people are going to expect you to have it anyway. They're going to require you to get it. So they might as well balance around it.
You're going to be getting your legendary after progression, or like I guess midway through progression with some of them. Like,
well, the ring has data mined 3 upgrades, which is like the soft nerf to the content. But it sounds like we're not going to have it for the first couple of weeks of progression, which to me is so back-asswards based on the fact that you had a legendary cloak going into tier Siege of Orgrimmar. So like the top guilds might be done in 2 weeks. Let's be real.
Should
And they won't get the ring. But then if you get the ring 3 weeks in, every other guild that's like halfway through will just start crushing because how much of a gain is that ring?
Yeah, it's probably
That's
going to be one of
insane.
those situations again where people hit a roadblock really late into the tier and then get stuck on that while everything else is just face roll,
Yeah.
which I think is a shame because you're just wasting good mechanics.
So we'll see.
I guess it'll be something to get us over that hump, I guess. But
But if it makes the tier a lot faster for a lot of guilds, and we're only if this is the last tier, I don't think we're gonna see another Siege of Orgrimmar style amount of time. But it's still.
I would hope not.
I just really wonder if it's gonna be the the straw that breaks the tier 18's back. Yeah, the leech trinket heals off. It stacks you leech based off healing effective, right? That's why I said you bring throughput healers that only heal with like mainly hots. So no matter what damage you take, you get healed bakes off something else, and you stack more leech.
If there's not enough burst to like chunk people down, in that perfect world. The other trinket that's awesome to look at is the phylactery trinket, the one that
The shard.
Reduces
reduces
spell
the cost. Mm-hmm. Like that one's gonna be exceptional for a lot of classes. And it's like better than all the other spirit trinkets and stuff like that after that buff that it was before actually.
It's been nerfed now. Again.
Did they nerf it?
Yeah, they nerfed it. No, it's still BIS. It's still going to be BIS for everyone, every healer, but they did nerf it. It was a bit ridiculous, you gotta admit.
I thought they like buffed it a couple days ago, or about a week ago.
No, they nerfed it.
Well,
554 on normal or something.
It's still 736 on Mythic.
I haven't looked at the Mythic yet. I only looked at the normal. I don't know that they changed
Okay,
Mythic.
it says 556 on.
Sublift still says that the trinket
on
is
PTR.
worth roughly 1,100 spirit.
It's still
Yes,
insane.
for disc and
Wow.
for holy. I think it's close for druids as well. One of my guildies actually made a doc where he did like casts per minute on average from from Blackrock Foundry fights.
Anyone that intends to spam instance is going to need that trinket.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, and what I was gonna actually just say the same thing that Skylar just told you, Daniel. Like the trinkets just won't work. Like you can't use the cooldown trinket right now. It doesn't work past level 95. So yeah, it's not gonna go anywhere. Like you can't use Valinir right now. You can, but the shield's like so you can't use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to check for chat again real quick. We have a couple more minutes left here real quick before we get out of here.
In reference to the balance issues with like the legendary rings and stuff, I mean, it's probably likely that. I mean, in an ideal situation, they tune the bosses to be like the last couple bosses to be really hard
And you
to the
need the
point
ring?
where to the point where your top end guilds are going to be able to kill it. But then the whole point is like they're kind of doing this progressive nerf system with the way that they're doing loot now. With it's like every wing like it bumps up eye levels or whatever, and then the legendary ring also adds to that a little bit. So for your average guild, you'll probably see like it'll be a huge sweeping change regardless, but I don't think it's necessarily going to break anything. It's just going to kind of be something else that kind of pushes you beyond the point of like, okay, we need to farm 12 weeks of gear.
Yeah.
That's assuming they balance things properly, though. So
It's funny when you look at it from like a hardcore rating guild standpoint. What happens with the eye levels? You basically have to look at that there are 40 eye levels of progression because there are 26 bosses for you to do for between heroic and mythic, and it goes 4 4 4 1 4 4 4 1 in the jumps. Every 4 is 5 eye levels, and then the last 1 is 5 with Archimond. So it's like good and bad at the same time.
it's a
But it
huge
is
jump.
It's progress. Yeah, it's a. Then we're gonna get a squish next expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have a
they'll
squish every
to.
expansion at this point.
I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense what they're doing, like trying to give you a progressive nerf without having to do the whole like you have to farm valor so that you can upgrade your gear thing. But I'm really not a huge fan as far as like trying to actually get a BIS list going for that stuff.
Nope. Oh yeah, no, the typing was real. I was gonna be super pinpointing on it during the main show. Typing is bad. We didn't have really anything bad during that, but after show stuff, answering questions, it's not a big deal. Yeah, so we're just about there right now. I didn't get anything on Twitter. No one tweeted any questions in. Guess I'm being
Wow.
lazy. I know,
Wow.
right? Jeez, just wicked lazy. It's gonna be an interesting tier, I think. And it hasn't been confirmed if the Legendary Ring actually does upgrade, but it was data mined to have 3 15+ eye level upgrades.
It's probably going to be one of those things that they might introduce if they decide it's needed.
Right. Because Because obviously you'd assume that the actual procs, like the percentage base, damage, healing, and tanking procs, go up with the eye levels.
I think they need to stop messing with the eye levels. I think they just need to either just bring it up with really, really little eye level. And I know that they said that they wanted to reward people, make people feel like they're gaining a lot of power. But I think at this point they're just shooting themselves in the foot constantly by inflating stats so much. And they keep having to rebalance things, maybe add tier bonuses to incentivize other things. And I don't think that's worth it.
Their way of incentivizing has been weird this whole expansion. Because, like, I mean, this is more of, like, as a whole of the entire expansion kind of rant. Like, you have all these rep grinds and stuff like that don't really give you good rewards. You have, like, the raids where you're just rewarded for doing LFR stuff, like, and just being AFK and LFR.
That changes in Hellfire. You have to.
I'm looking forward to that with that augment rune.
Reps. Oh, well, augment runes and the new legend, the epic gems are tied to reputation grinds. So, which is. It's positive overall because at least something to do. Because right now,
it's something get us out of the garrisons.
Something to get us out of the garrisons. Hey, flying could get us out of the garrisons too. Oh wait. Best priest transmog. Jack, go.
Challenge will set because I'm really lazy.
He's so lazy.
Yes, very lazy.
All right, Jinze.
My transmog, obviously, but I'm using a mix, so you can't really call it a set. I'm using that the Alliance Trial of the Grand Crusader chest, and the shoulders are from Butcher, and I think that really matches well. I like to transmog things, so
a hodgepodge.
Yeah, but before this, I ran around with the Warlock tier from this tier, and people really like that as well. But
the crosscloth.
I can't leave the same for more than 2 months.
Yep. Sam on Twitter just asked if we discussed the tier 18 discipline holy sets. Yes, we did. Main show, we talked about the tier 18 stuff coming in, and we both talked about the class trinkets for at least 15 minutes. The salt was too damn high. Skylar, transmog options. Do you want to add in? Oh wait, you don't actually really see them.
Tree form.
Yeah.
I mean, you do now. You technically do, but you should.
People in chat were talking about how Spirit adds to throughput, kind of thing. I know they've been talking in the past. I like where the trinkets are going this expansion, this coming tier, where you're actually getting like a reward for it, or like you can actually get the trinkets that you want. Playing Holy Pally and going on Oragorger and just like waiting weeks and weeks and weeks trying to get like the int crit ring or trinket. You know, so I kind of like where that's going. Some classes are better than others with like having Spirit into throughput. So that's one of the awesome things about Holy Priest is because you can max out your throughput so well with more Spirit on different fights, and you can like account for kind of your weaknesses. Because Holy doesn't have like a niche super strength, but it's like good at a lot of things, or solid at a lot of things.
I don't know. I would like Spirit to do something more than just a region. It's just boring to get Spirit. I'm not thinking, yes, I got more Spirit. Now I can drop it somewhere else, I guess.
Well, because there's no healing drawbacks anymore.
Yeah, the issue isn't really the fact that Spirit's only regen. It's the fact that you don't need the regen. If they did the whole Spirit scaling like mana thing that they said they were going to do for 2 expansions in a row, and it worked properly, then you would have the question of, okay, do I need more regen or am I fine on mana, so let's go with more throughput. It should never really be like it should do both, because it's still going to be a boring stat. You're just always going to want it. And it shouldn't necessarily be something you want. It's something you should need to have a balance of.
I thought they were going to have that balance in certain spells, as Suplift brings up every healer just needs Rushing Jade Wind.
Yeah.
there's no like mana dumps that are like really good buttons for not every healer, which I thought was the whole point.
I don't know if
Yeah.
Holy Priests have this. I don't think they do though. I mean, we have Prayer of Healing, but you don't want to spam that because it's not good. It's not giving you anything in return for all that mana. If we had something that we could really spam when we wanted to heal up the rate fast, or if we wanted really big shields, then we would actually run out of mana eventually. Right now we don't. So we're going back to the SOO phase where no one wanted any spirit on their gear.
Already, we're not even like we're one. Well, depending on how Blizzard looks at it, we're a tier and a half in this expansion already, and
Holy's a little bit better about that though. Holy, like Binding Glyph
some dumping.
and some Prayer of Healing. Like you always weave it in here and there. It's not like it's gonna be your primary because Circle Heal is always gonna be like the primary go-to because it's so strong and so overpowered. Please don't touch it. Like I mean by over, it's like our best spell. Not like, Blizzard, please,
Nerf.
please,
Nerf.
no,
Nerf!
no,
Nerf.
shush,
Nerfed it. Nerfing it.
don't touch it.
It's your only spell.
Yeah.
Don't take it.
Renew. You know, we'll get some palms.
Anything else?
Trying to save your circle here, go.
Yeah, don't bring up circles. Circle of Healing is so weak. Oh my god, it's awful. It's like the worst spell in the game. Jeez.
Buff Holy Priest.
Yeah, buff Holy Priests. Exactly.
I'm okay with it. I don't think we're a problem. I'll
right.
be
Anything
hyped for
else
some free
before we
stuff.
get out of here? A couple minutes over for the after show, but
Can we do something about Holy Nova, please?
do you want it to be relevant?
I really like the spell. It looks amazing, and I can't use it. It's sitting there. I feel like I need to use it.
I always thought Holy Nova should be a short cooldown, powerful rotational spell where you could like choose to use it, and it was like a huge mana cost, but it would heal around you. Like, oh my god, I stood in the thing and he chained me, Holy Nova, and you're both okay-ish. But now it's just like, where's the rogue in PvP? That's all it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want it overpowered like it was a miss. I don't want that. I just want it to be something. And it would maybe work as a huge mana dump. So you have to choose to use it instead of just standing there and pressing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Some kind of choice.
We said a lot of things, and a lot of things were said, but the button is now... Words! Button is being pressed. Thank you all for tuning in for episode 83 of Final Boss TV. Discipline Holy Priests, nonsensical stuff with this guy. Affinity came back on the show to say things here and there. You can go follow him on Twitter at AffinityUS, and he'll say things.
Yes.
Words.
Offending?
Yeah, there you go. Thanks for being on the show again, though, Skylar. Always appreciate it,
Of course.
We also brought Jak on the show. You can follow Jak on Twitter as well at Automatic Jak and go ask him Holy Priest questions on his stream and stuff.
That's right. Also, Automatic Jak on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Should be Twitch PM. It's Monday through Saturday. Yeah.
Should be good. Thank you very much, sir. Do you stream Progression? Will you be? Yeah?
I will.
Good stuff. So we can see how many times you spam renew.
Oh, it'll be lots of renew. You want to see some renew? You will see some renew.
Good
Circle of Healing.
Oh,
thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Also brought
thank
on...
you to Zozin for getting me here.
Oh, well, you know, hey. Also brought on Jinze. You can go follow her at her YouTube at Proper Bird, and then of course her Twitter and Twitch and all that other good social media nonsense is on there as well. Thank you.
I made guides on everything. Normal and Heroic also incoming. Discipline Priest also incoming. And if Dan's thanking people, I can thank people. I want to thank Knuckles for getting here and Andy for getting me here as well. You guys are awesome. Shout out to Consequence. Later.
Yeah. And of course, everything you need to know about Final Boss TV is on FinalBoss.tv. It's really hard to find this show. We're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on the YouTube for all of our past episodes. If you have questions for next week's guests or other questions that I can help you link to places and things like that, you can send it over to her on the website. Next week, again, as I said before, is going to be Shadow Priests. There was a huge forum Jimmy Jam that just happened recently that I want to jump on the hype train for, sort of. And we just did Healing Priest. I'll do Shadow Priest next week. Twin Top will be here, and then +1 when we get that all sorted out. So we'll see you there for that one. You can send our questions in right now only on the Ask Boss. And trusting your seal of tempered whatever the hell it is until it changes to something different in the patch. And have fun running your timeless or time walker dungeons for those.
Yeah. Hype.
But until I know. But until next week,
This is
everybody.
something to do.
You're not
Out of the
wrong.
garrisons.
Bye, everybody. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye
It's
bye
not
bye
in
bye
garrison.
Bye.
bye 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 bye.